Every year, over 100 million people gather in their homes to watch the NFL Super Bowl. It's a hugely popular sporting event that even brings in viewers who aren't huge fans of the sport. That's because of the halftime show, a pop culture spectacular that aims to impress. But lately, the show has been surrounded with controversy. What's happening in the Super Bowl halftime show? Before we dive in, we take a look at the NFL and the history of the halftime show. So keep on watching to find out why many stars are staying far and away from the NFL this year. The American football industry is worth billions and billions of dollars. The widespread popularity of the sport turned it into a very appealing investment for many companies and brands. Teams, which can be franchised, are worth around $2 billion each. The most valuable team at the moment is the Dallas Cowboys, whose value is now at $5 billion. The NFL is currently the most profitable league in the world, raking in $95 million per team in operating income. How popular is football in America? Just take a look at the numbers. The Super Bowl is now one of the most watched single-day sporting events in the United States of America. Every year, hundreds of millions of Americans tune in to watch the Super Bowl. In 2015, the Super Bowl XLIX garnered 114.4 million viewers. This number made it to the most watched broadcast in history of the United States television. Because hundreds of millions of people tune in to watch the Super Bowl every year, it's become a top investment for many brands and companies, even if they have no relation to sports or football. These brands will pay big bucks to get their name in the game. They pour in billions of dollars in sponsorships, advertisements, and naming rights in stadiums. A 30-second advertisement in the Super Bowl now costs up to 8 figures. Advertising companies are working hard to put their best ads into a Super Bowl time slot, because over 100 million people will automatically see it. It better be good. But one of the biggest, most watched things of the Super Bowl isn't even the game itself. It's called the Super Bowl halftime show. What exactly is the halftime show? It's the perfect love child of pop culture, entertainment, and sports. It turns out it wasn't enough for people to just watch a football team vie for the championship. There had to be a whole concert right in the middle of it too. As if the Super Bowl could get any bigger, someone decided to put performances by the biggest names in the music industry right in the middle of the game. Soon, the Super Bowl halftime show became one of the biggest and most prestigious gigs in the world. Getting asked to perform at the Super Bowl was something most artists could only dream of. The halftime show began quite interestingly. It all started in LaRue during the early 1900s when Olympian athlete Jim Thorpe was asked to player-coach for the all-Native American football team called the Oorang Indians. The team was franchised by a dog kennel owner named Walter Lingo. Lingo was famous for his Arendelle Terriers, who often joined celebrities and athletes on hunting expeditions. Lingo was always looking for new ways to advertise his dogs. Jim Thorpe, though he was well past his athletic peak, was still drawing in large crowds of fans whenever he was on the field. So Walter Lingo decided to use this to his advantage when he had both the Oorang Indians and his Oorang Airedales, LaRue, through a tiny town with only 1,000 residents at the time, became the smallest town to ever host an NFL franchise. Football games back then were played quite differently. There were different rules and strategies from the ones that we see today. Then, there was a lot of dead time in between halves. Both teams would usually use this time to rest and catch their breath. Lingo and his son noticed that the audience wasn't doing or watching anything during this time, so Walter decided to put on a show for them. And thus, the first halftime show was born. Not only were the Oorang Indians football players, but they were also dog handlers and entertainers as well. The team would showcase the Airedale Terriers and their many skills and tricks during the halftime show. In between plays, the team would perform some indigenous dances. As a finale, they would even reenact scenes of World War I to show how the dogs could help wounded soldiers. It seems like the NFL halftime show was wrought with scandals and controversy early on in the game. The Oorang Indians were the first and only team to comprise fully of Native Americans. But being in 1920s in LaRue, they were met with a lot of prejudice. Native Americans at the time were not recognized as American citizens. What more equals? The whole premise of the halftime show was exploitation. The players were told to use their culture and tradition to sell dogs and tickets, and they had no way out of it. Despite being more educated than the average LaRue local, they had less opportunities. According to the descendant of one of the players, the Oorang Indians did what they did, even though it was demeaning and derogatory, because it was a way to earn money. You could say that the halftime show had racist beginnings, but it eventually transformed into something a little more tasteful. In fact, the halftime show became a platform to spread awareness about different issues. The halftime show started out as a way to sell dogs and entertain casual fans who may not have a great interest in football. The latter is still applicable today. After Thorpe and his dog showing footballers, halftime shows featured marching bands and drill teams. Soon, the Super Bowl was showcasing talents like Gloria Estefan, Michael Jackson, and Diana Ross. It had grown to a huge spectacle for even those who weren't diehard football fans. So many people loved watching the halftime show that it started gaining more viewers than the game itself. In 2017 Super Bowl match between the New England Patriots and the Atlanta Falcons, Lady Gaga headlined the halftime show. The game drew 111.9 million viewers, but Lady Gaga's performance alone had 117.5 million viewers. Ever since Michael Jackson took the halftime stage in 1993, the performances just keep getting bigger. In 2011, the Super Bowl got the Black Eyed Peas joined by Usher and Slash. The following years featured Madonna, Beyoncé, Bruno Mars, Katy Perry, and Coldplay. In 2018, Justin Timberlake returned to the halftime stage for the third time since 2001. Ever since the beginning of the NFL, the league has had its fair share of scandals and controversies. Too many players were being diagnosed or dying from brain damage, and multiple NFL executives were charged with corruption. Even the controversial name of the Washington Redskins has not changed despite clamor and petitions from general public and Native Americans who find the name offensive. It's clear that the NFL has received a lot of flack for their actions and agenda. But still, millions of people gather around every year to watch the Super Bowl. Will things stay the same? Or can one too many controversies end the Super Bowl? The Super Bowl halftime show just keeps getting more popular, until it was surrounded by controversy starting in 2016. In mid-August of 2016, the 49ers quarterback Colin Kaepernick started his quiet protest. He quietly remained seated as the national anthem played during a preseason game, and for a while it went unnoticed. It wasn't until a couple weeks after the game when Colin explained his peaceful protest to the media. He said that he wasn't standing up for the flag, not at a time where police brutality towards black people was rampant in America. Not long after that, Kaepernick changed his position to a kneeling one, to show more respect for veterans. The image of Colin and other football players taking a knee while the national anthem played became iconic. There were many critics among football fans, but it wasn't until President Trump addressed the issue that it really caught fire. During a campaign rally in Alabama, Trump expressed his wish that NFL players would get fired for kneeling during the anthem. For Trump and many other critics of the protest, kneeling during the flag was a blatant act of disrespect. But for Kaepernick, it was more than the flag and playing football. For him and for many other black folks, it was a matter of life and death. Kaepernick's quiet protest quickly began to spread to other leagues, and soon even basketball and baseball players were taking a knee during the national anthem. It wasn't long before even celebrities and musicians joined in on the action. But the NFL didn't take too kindly to this protest. At the beginning, they allowed the players to do so as they pleased during the anthem, but after the criticism, they changed the rules. Players on the field must stand while the national anthem plays. If they don't want to comply, they should wait in the locker room until the anthem is over. Teams with players caught kneeling or sitting on the field while the national anthem plays are fined. Now, Colin Kaepernick is not part of any NFL team. He last made headlines for signing a deal with Nike for their Just Do It campaign. Colin's face in black and white was plastered on billboards with the message, "Believe in something even if it means sacrificing everything." It was a marketing move that banked on being political, and it worked. Nike, despite the social media boycott spurred on by an enraged fan, became more popular than ever. Critics of the Kaepernick movement started burning or cutting up their Nike products and posting them on Twitter. These critics probably didn't realize that Nike was also the main sponsor of many other players and teams in the NFL, and not just Colin. While Colin's quiet protest turned into a movement, it had serious repercussions. Kaepernick soon found himself without a team, and no other team wanted to hire him. He then lawyered up, filing a complaint of collusion against the NFL. The complaint basically said that the league and the owners of the teams were all in agreement with each other to not hire Kaepernick because of his protest. The hearings for this case are set to happen in Philadelphia in 2019. But it didn't stop there. The effects of the NFL response to Colin's protest reached even the halftime show. Now most people are unhappy with how the NFL is handling the whole situation. It's come to the point that the league is having trouble finding the next halftime show performers. Since the controversy started in 2016, views have been slipping. It's still in the 100 millions, but it's getting worrisome. Last year's Super Bowl garnered 103.4 million viewers, down 7% from the previous year. Timberlake's performance was not stellar and didn't get people talking as much as Lady Gaga did the previous year. Pop and R&B sensation Rihanna was one of the prospects for the Super Bowl this year, but after hearing about Colin Kaepernick's situation being handled, she decided to turn down the gig. Rihanna wasn't alone in turning down one of the most watched shows in the world. Adele was rumored to perform in 2017's Super Bowl, but she denied it, saying that the Super Bowl halftime show is not about the music. She also said that the NFL did ask her, but she declined. Not long after that, the NFL released an official statement saying they were never offering Adele the halftime show. Some artists went out and voiced their opinions about the NFL and their songs. Jay-Z called out the NFL in a lead single from the album with Beyoncé, Everything Is Love. The line goes, "I said no to the Super Bowl. You need me, I don't need you. Every night, we in the end zone, tell the NFL we in stadiums too." Other no's came from the likes of Pink, who refused the offer even though she sang the national anthem during the 2017 Super Bowl. Cardi-B has publicly shown her support for Colin Kaepernick since the 2017 MTV VMAs. She bumped into the TMZ paparazzi in February of 2018 and confirmed her stance. She won't be performing at the halftime show until Kaepernick is rehired. So far, only Maroon 5 and Travis Scott have agreed to perform for the Super Bowl this year. But both artists faced a lot of backlash for their decisions. According to Scott, he's only doing the show because the NFL agreed to donate $500,000 to Dream Corps, a nonprofit that tackles social justice issues. But there was still one person who had a problem with this decision: Colin Kaepernick himself. Travis claimed that after speaking with Colin regarding the Taking Halftime Show gig, they came out of the conversation with mutual respect and understanding. Colin's Hot 97 host girlfriend, Nessa Diaz, was said to shut down this statement, saying that there's no respect and no understanding for anyone who works against Kaepernick. It seems that the NFL is in hot water with many influential people, from celebrities to other sports legends. If they don't clean up their act soon, it will only get harder and harder for them to find big names to perform. So it turns out that trouble is brewing for the NFL and the halftime show. What do you guys think? Can the NFL get out of hot water to appease all of their fans? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to our channel and give this video a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.